poems that aren't in my new book, and then 4 poems that are, and they're all fairly quick, so don't worry, okay? This is called Without Chill, and this is from the Shearsman book that'll be out in spring. Without Chill. I would be a place under the stairs where boots and brooks sleep, where paper sheds its words, where a single field mouse nibbles on however. The dreamt lives of objects are brushed by a tincture of light. I would be dust motes and sun. Labor ended, you would feel the peace of rooms, where shuttered windows quiver with moth light, where the ghost of your benevolence contracts in size. This is called Without Measure, and it starts with a quote from Paul Harding from the wonderful novel Tinkers. My memories are atmospheres. In fields whitened with ash and tincture of metals, roots trestled under frost-striking train, you would adjust the tint of Wednesday, chart a windowed cloud in sleep's unticking room. Nothing holds the scene, no music barters its tangent season, its cover of lifted air, its salt acres. The world is a penny and a feather, you blink to measure evening. This is called Without Sympathy, and I read this, if you were at the Mose reading, God help you, because I read this the other night. Without Sympathy. Who was I in my presumptuous smallness to ignore the many dead whose hands reached as mine, pale and asking, rich and figured, under the loads of light or dark, their liquid stones of small intoxications, their butterfly viewing, their salt mining, their love of basalt, their dark corners where words told them to go there and then here, to take up their toils and lay them down, and curl around someone they loved or sometimes only liked. They did everything wrong. Their hatreds were petty. They broke plates. Their stories are not mine. Their photos, my strangers, whose eye is bluer than filament of gaslight, who intends no harm. I am sorry for my slights of everyone, my unturned cheek when they called. Will you forgive my sudden and vast catalog of prayers and charms, sparrows and dust motes, bees and ready doves? I am only trying harder to be what light calls itself when it enters a room full of sorrow. Okay, now this is from another chapbook that came out as an ebook from Argotis Press in England. That one week I didn't have a chapbook, and then this man said, "Do you want a chapbook on an ebook?" I said, "Sure," and then like 3 days later I had a book. It was so funny. Different than publishing usually is. So this is the opposite in terms of a project. It's in a really long line. I'm just going to read one of these. It's called Ruin, and it begins with a quote from Whitman: "I am not what you suppose, but far different. Not timber or bronze or iridium, not the old habits of species at a waterhole, or the short irregular breaths of the last whisper guest. Not the grievance that gives way to truth, or the truth of a three-headed beast in your atlas of imaginary travels. Not the speaker with the plans, but the quiet boy learning the rope trick in the hallway outside the room. Not the intelligence noted for its acute air of judiciousness, but the wasp's sharp sting as it strikes a shapely passing ankle. Not the coiled answer waiting for its question, unlike what is asked or required on a Sunday. Not the leaves in May shining ferocious in the garden where your grandson has left an onion resting on a stone. Not the fierce attention of the man on the traffic island holding a sign that says something smeared by rain. Not the notice given by an eye to another in its hope of dependence on kindness, or its hope of notice in a room full of candles. Not the bored glance of a mother whose child has climbed higher than last time, but is busy with hurt and resentment. Not the author whose page is so busy with sound that he forgets each word's landscape is a story with a beginning and end. Not your hand or my hand or the things that we touch in a day, which includes so many forms of heaviness, so much light. Not the tinge of memory in a place where someone else stood, unaware of your life or its constant necessity to record its existence in each room's sharp corner. Not formal analysis or credo or code or the heard cries of pelicans over the water of the bay's dark shadow under the bridge. Not earth's solitude early in the day when everyone is sleeping and you are alone in a kitchen where he or she once daily stood. Not the pouring of water or the boiling of kettles or the singing of neon as it advertises books or massages or bereavement services. Not Augustine of Hippo or Herodotus or Longinus or Mrs. Miller or Captain Courageous. Not the oldest book or rarest coin or smallest bird known to sip water from a clover. Not your face in a mirror or a window, nor your voice as heard on a recording among the others, nor your method of material witness to things as they open like a novel's first sentence. You are not in the room or the story or the thought. You are not in the absence spoken as a charm against itself. Okay, and now from my book, this is to be read in the dark, for which I thank Rusty and Barry very much. And it's very new, and it's a little guy. So I can't read a lot of it, or you won't want to buy it. That's why I have to temper it with other projects here, or else I could read the whole book, and then what would be its use as a material item? Okay, and I'm trying to read things that I didn't read the other night. So this is December 31st. Any sparrow on a branch defines a doctrine of catalog or hymn. In betweenness, a gesture left to private song. A species attends to its music. What is isolate remains attached to silence. Let this stick be X, this witness Y, voiceless coda to the day. I'm going to probably have to break my rule because I read so much the other night. This is another bird poem, Aviary. Pity bird's winter, icy torpor of nature reduced to want and shadow. An alibi is a frozen witness. To end where it ends is only digression. A story is whole without a staircase. Moon's dictation unread in the dark. To pantomime loss is tragedy's license. Finitude, please, frozen ground says. This I'll read just because it's such a good title. I don't know about the poem. The title is Dickinson's Waifs on Niediger's Shore. All that sunlight lost in the hollows of an eye. The catastrophe accomplished smoothly like dictation. No one comes to say farewell or even goodbye. You spilling like an overfilled cup, like a lake in April. You cold and shivering, then a brief flash of embroidery, mushrooms or birds or your name in black thread. This one I like because I think it's about Dick Cheney. It's not for Dick Cheney. The news. The inhuman among us want to sing as others. They have a sacred place, constructed of their crimes, that surely corresponds to something in the world. Their subtle lack of grace makes it rich and strange, singing accusations in a pure contralto, which almost sounds like truth, dressed up as a prince, or darkness curling under an open, well-lit door. I hope it wasn't a Dick Cheney lover there who I offended. I'll read two more.
He's incapable of love.
Capable of love, right? This I think of as kind of a funny poem, but my secretary at work today told me it made her cry, and I thought that was such a strange poem to cry for. So let's see if you think it's funny or it makes you cry. I don't think it does either. There will be consequences. Memory's edge is too demanding, asks for reaching when it only wants models. Show me a list, memory says. You reveal cardboard scenery, a sheriff's badge, and slippery stones. Anything, please, for memory's sake. A few spare pigeons, a haunted zoo. Your field of vision seems to be failing. You prop it up with ambition. In its circumference there are blackbirds. Your childhood wants to have a party. Your attendance is required. You'll conjure up some glass begonias. Cameras, please, memory says. See, that's not a sad poem, is it? It's a silly poem. And I'll read one more. I want to read this one. No.
Read the language.
The language? Okay. A request. See, if you stand here long enough acting stupid, someone says what you should read next. I have to find it. The language. Okay. The language. A field of black sheep who know church Latin, a shipyard of vessels all named sentence, a tangle of words and a basket of laundry, a night like no other, blackbirds falling like endings, a gift unrecognized by grace, a barrel, only a barrel, at the Stoics Hotel. They stay for years, getting lost in the language. Okay, thanks.